Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie, and I would like to welcome you to episode number 28 of Doodle Gems. In this episode, we're going to be doing Picture Jasper. That comes from Eastern Oregon. So come on with me and check out what Picture Jasper is all about. We are going to start off with going through the palette of colors. There's a lot of colors in this. There doesn't have to be. You can find Picture Jasper that has maybe 2 or 3 colors in it. I just happened to find one that had a scene that I liked, and so I'm trying to replicate in a very loose and abstract fashion. The neat thing about these stones is that it is abstract. There's really no landscape there. It's just we see it as that. So starting off here with Prismacolor, we are going to be using Sienna brown, yellow ochre, Spanish orange, cream, white, dark brown, light umber, scarlet, 50% gray, indigo, and light cerulean. And if you want the Crayola colors, I will have them all listed in the description box below. So please check that out and gather up your Crayolas if that's what you want to use. To start off with, my yellow ochre, and I'm going to do just a really light bottom 2/3 of my cabochon, and then I'm going to grab the 50% gray and draw in the top third, because that's about the division of my sky and ground. It just makes it easier. I don't end up with a green line up here in the sky if I do it this way. And now I am going to go ahead and grab that cream, and this is it is an abstract. Jaspers are not true landscapes. It's just the way the sedimentary ash and mud all mixed together millions of years ago to create these stones. They're just fossilized, petrified, crystallized mud and ash. But the different minerals that are in them create these beautiful landscapes. Landscapes that have hills, landscapes that have mountains, landscapes that have valleys and rivers. This one is just sort of a stacked hills type of landscape. And if you see here, I'm just putting in some of my lighter color. If you remember drawing hills and mountains when you were a kid, and you would, here, I'll just draw it right here. You would draw your one line here, and then you would draw another one that came to it like that, and another one that went like that, and that became 3 mountains stacked up. That is all we're going to be doing with this Jasper. That's all it is. It's just stacking your lines and giving yourself spaces for little valleys. It's not a technical type drawing. These are very intuitive. They're very loose and easy. And they're actually quite quick. So now I am going to grab that yellow. Oh, that's my Spanish orange. I think I don't want the Spanish orange right now. I want the yellow ochre. And I'm just going to sort of outline my little hills here. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because these are all going to end up with kind of a fun, thicker top line. A thicker top line. On the top of each of these hills. there might be a little bit of that along the side here, and a little bit of it along there. On the right side, on the left side, back and forth. Just some rolling hills. We're layering our colors in. They're going to get smoothed out some. This is a shiny stone, but it's a opaque stone. I'm going to go ahead and lay in a little bit of this gray in the sky also. It ends up being sort of stripy, and it's going to be this sky is going to be stripy with a cerulean blue and a white also. And then the colorless blender will go in and kind of peel away some of those colors. I'm going to grab that white where the join here is. I'm going to go ahead and go over the gray. Softens it, starts blending it out. We're not going to have any of that white speckling in this stone. We want it to be nice and smooth. Right now it looks like a bumblebee. But that's okay. This is an abstract type art. It is something that, let's see here, where did that little blue go? There it is. It is something that it's intuitive. You're going to grab colors and start laying them in. You might take colors over other colors and down around. And maybe not right up against the mountain on one side of it, but right up against it on the other. So we've got that. We've got a little bit of that white showing in there. It almost has an atmospheric type effect. Almost like clouds, almost like stripes. It's kind of tricky like that. It's not going to end up being quite so stripy. There's going to be some indigo blue going in here, up around those edges, up around that top edge like that. And then I'm going to color in a little bit of that indigo around the edges, coming in off those sides. The nice thing about putting the indigo in is that it mixes with that white and makes a really pretty color. Sort of unexpected how bright indigo goes. Indigo goes. The indigo goes. How bright that indigo changes to when there's white introduced. And I'm going to take that white again. I'm going to use it to drag the color around. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. The muds and ash and things like that get laid down pretty much in layers. But when there was water involved, those layers sort of mushed and flowed, and just like pouring sand back and forth in a bottle, that's when you've got colored sand, you can make pretty pictures. It's the same thing. It's just that Mother Nature made those pretty pictures. All right, so the sky is pretty much laid in. I want to come back now and start working on these hills. And, before I go to the brown, I think I'm going to take some of this scarlet and put just a fine line of scarlet along the edges of each of these hills to really define them. Just really break it out. And this Scarlet is mixing with that yellow ochre and making a real pretty orangey color in some spots here. And I'm adding another little bit, kind of a lightning bolt of this color going through, and sort of dragging it down just a little. This kind of draggingness, boy, my words are just so weird tonight. The effect here is almost like an aurora. And I have seen some Jaspers that have almost that aurora type of an effect. And I'm not going to do that across the whole thing. And I'm not going to do it everywhere, but I want to do it in a few spots. Need to work on this to get it so it doesn't look like it's the mummy of a blue rock. I don't want it wrapped in bandages. How about that? That's what it's starting to look like to me. It looks like it's wrapped in bandages. We don't want that. So now we're going to grab the light umber. Because remember, these are mud and minerals. There's mud and minerals. And I'm going right over some of that red right there. Look at that, how it just blends it out. But it gives it another depth. It gives it another layer of color. It's unexpected. There we go. And I'm letting some of that white or lightest color, the cream, show through still. I'm kind of blending these edges a little bit where they flow in underneath. There we go. Look at that. It's kind of interesting. I think a little bit up in here. I want to take out some of those scratchy lines of that red and just burnish them in. But you see how I'm kind of leaving that hard red line right now. Just a bit. Just a bit. But this, I'm going to go ahead and bring down and around this light umber as a shadow. As a shadow. There we go. And again, I'm going to work it into some of that red that I pulled down. You see how that just smooths it out, and it starts building more depth in those little mountains of our abstract, those mountains of our abstract landscape. And I'm building these colors into more and more dark. Now I've got the really dark brown. I want to get some of that right in here and right in here. But it's really interesting. I'm leaving a bit of just a slight little bit of a space with the lighter color showing. It gives a little bit more dimension. breaks it up a little bit, keeps it from getting too matchy. Okay, look at that. All right, now I'm going to grab that colorless blender. I want to work a little bit of this together. We're almost done with this stone. Believe it or not, it doesn't take much. It really doesn't take much. Look at that. I don't want to wipe out all of my light color in there, but I want to blend it down. Look at that. Maybe just knock it back just a tiny bit. All right, now we're going to go ahead and pick those up. Actually, I'm going to do something here, and it looks kind of scary, but I'm going to take that. Tell it, take that. Look at that. Just taking that colorless blender right through the whole thing. Oh no. But look at that. It starts giving it depth. It starts giving it dimension. All we're doing is making a highlight, but it's not the brightest highlight yet. It's just letting you know that this stone has a little bit of depth. And then I'm going to grab that indigo blue once again, and it is going to go right around this edge, this low edge, and kind of lightly color up towards that highlight we just put in. I'm going to put a little bit harder and darker right down here, and then bring it up. Bring it up. And because it's mixing with that brown and those yellows and the red, which is kind of the orange, which will help it go a little bit more brown or gray because of the complementary action. Wow. That's bringing it up, isn't it? That is bringing it up. I want to just come out just a little ways from it. There we go. If an artist had, a lapidary specialist had found this stone and cut and polished it, they chose to cut it a specific way to have the mountains show up. And look at that. I'm just dropping a little bit of that blue in there now too, which is going green, which is fine. I'm putting that green right next to that red, that blue next to the red that's turning green here. Ooh, all right. Now we're just going to throw a bit of a actual bright white highlight just inside of that dull highlight here, just inside, just in a few spots. Look at that. Just that much. That's all it takes, and it makes such a difference. It just poof, popped it right up off the table. So now we're going to go ahead and get that design in here. And what I want to do is it's going to end up being kind of a square design going around it this time, I think, or a diamond. And I just went really wide right there, and I wasn't intending on doing that. But we will make it work. Because what we'll do is just come inside of that really wide spot. that really wide spot. And then we're just going to pretend that it was supposed to be that way. And we're going to put a bezel around it. See, you don't even really notice it. It looks like that's just where there's a bit of a shadow, and then there's some highlight. We can do it. We can do it. And then join into that dark. And I think I like how that's going there, so I am going to go ahead and just drop some black in and leave a little bit of white here and there. No real rhyme or reason, just wherever it happens to land. It just makes it look like it's shiny. Makes it look like that metal is shiny going around it. The bezel is shiny. And that's a lot of fun. Now, if you're enjoying this video, I hope that you will click like and subscribe if you haven't already, so that you'll find out when new videos go up. And please leave me a comment and let me know what you think of this video. It really helps me to be able to gauge if I'm doing things that you guys like. You know, it's hard sometimes when what I'm doing on this side of the camera doesn't really connect with you guys. I want to know. I want to do things that you guys are going to like and appreciate. And I know that you're appreciating it when you click on that like button and you leave me comments. Now I'm just doing some little half circles, and then I'm making some like little rays inside of those half circles. And I did put a second little line around the outside of those little half circles. So we've got those. Now I'm going to put one. I'm going to do kind of halfway between. I'm going to do another one. And you're going to say, Steph, this is looking a little odd. I have a plan. We'll see if it works. I have a plan. Those best laid plans. We'll see if I can lay this plan to lay it out, knock it out of the park. We'll see. Knock it out of that landscape. Sorry, I'll try and keep my hand out of the way. I get all excited about doing the design, and I don't look up at the camera or at the monitor to see if it's actually working or not. To see if I'm actually keeping my hand out of the way. Am I doing this, or am I keeping my hand out of the way? Wow. Okay, I have to stop and say, I really do like that. That turned out so well. Okay, back to doing this. So now we're going to do sort of little triangle bits to join these scallops. And I think this is not ending up being a square or a diamond. I mean, it's kind of, because it's 8 points, it's kind of a square and a square, kind of. Let's see if I can sort of tidy it up a little bit. Tidy up. Whenever I hear the word that tidy up, I think of that movie, The Producers, and the Swedish actress, the actress playing the Swedish woman who comes in and is the secretary. And she comes in and she paints everything white because she is tidying up. And it makes me smile whenever I hear that. All right. I think that we are going to do something a little organic. Kind of a flower. Maybe the flower from a cactus. Makes me think of sort of a desert, mountain desert. Those foothills before you get up into the elevation where rain starts falling again. And so what you have are these dry hills moving up towards it. Okay, so now how am I going to finish this off? And I want to finish it off in about 2 minutes. So let's see, what are we going to do? I think we are going to be having some stripes going across this way, which is going to reinforce that it's like squares. Is that right? Yeah, going across this way. Oh no, it's not going to be squares. I totally lost it. That's okay. That's one of the neat things about doing doodling, when you might have a plan, but that plan doesn't have to come out exactly right. You're still going to end up with something neat at the end. So right now, we're going to see if I can pull this out, eh? See if I can pull that out. So now I think this is going to go this way, and I'm just going to make it so those are little spinny circle or spinny triangles. Those spinny triangles. That one goes that way. And, ooh, that's cool. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm going from one corner and I'm going in just a little bit. So I'm shortening the line. So I'm going from this corner and I'm going to come in off of the corner. And from this corner to that way. And that. All the way around. There we go. So there. Now I did learn this particular design on a free site for Zentangles. This sort of spinning design. I am not one of those people that remembers the names of designs. I think that kind of spinning design like that is called paradox, but I'm not sure. And I am not a Zentangle expert. I am a doodler. And I am an opportunistic doodler. If I see a pattern that I like, I will draw it however it ends up working for me. All right, we're almost done going all the way around with that too. And you notice I'm not too worried about making it a perfect pattern. I'm just sort of being pretty loose with it. Now, if I've got some wide spaces, I'll go back in and just throw an extra line in. It's not going to hurt it. Not going to hurt it. Look at that. Okay, so really quick, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends these videos. If you think that they'd have fun, share it. I'm having fun. I hope you have fun too. And I'm going to make those lines a little bit closer together just because I can. And now I'm going to take the indigo blue. And I am actually going to do a little bit of blue shadowing. A little bit of blue shadows. Not a lot, but some to kind of pop this up a little bit. Take that. Take parts of that design and push them to the back. That's what putting that darker color on does. Just pushes it to the back. Push it back, way back. Look at that. Ooh. All right. And just because we've used some of the Scarlet in that, I am going to go ahead and put a little bit of Scarlet in the base of these flowers. Just because. I don't usually color in my doodles, but this just called for a little bit more. Just a little bit. All right. We'll go ahead and zoom in on that this time, so you can see it up nice and big. Ooh, look at that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate you hanging out with me. I hope that you enjoyed this. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, share on your social media, and go out and do something creative. Take care. Bye-bye. Out to the left, swirl, and back. So you see how all of these leaves were going to the right, going clockwise, and now these are going to the left, these swirls, and it balances this stone. And you notice how pretty this is looking with the setting going on. It's really setting off that gem and making